Hey, family and friends, this is your marriage and divorce coach, Dr. Angel Cartagena, coming to you with this week's edition of Tuesday Tips. Now, for those of you who have been paying close attention, you know that it's been a couple of weeks where I did not record Tuesday Tips, and that's because, sometimes a brother just needs a break. So I love you. I was praying for you still, thought about you, but I have had a crazy, crazy last couple of weeks as I've tried to close out the semester at one college and begin a new semester at another. For those of you who didn't know, I am also a college professor. This week, I thought that I would do something very practical in terms of providing help for those who are seeking divorce or going through a divorce and experiencing divorce. Maybe you're already divorced, but you're going through the divorce experience. And what I thought I'd do is just suggest 5 books for you to read, 5 books to help you get through the process. And they're not all about divorce, frankly, although they all are on the perimeters, and I'll explain with each one. And so, that being the case, let me tell you the 5 books. If you are a Christian going through a divorce, 5 books that you should read. The first is considered a classic. It's called The Healing Path by Dan Allender. The Healing Path is a fantastic book that focuses us on the fact that God redeems loss. God doesn't prevent loss. God doesn't prevent pain. God doesn't prevent us from going through the tough trials of life. In fact, in the book of James, what are we told? Brothers and sisters, consider it pure joy whenever you go through a trial, because through the going of that trial, you will be perfected. And so Dan Allender really picks up on this theme and makes, I think, a persuasive argument for and explains how God redeems pain. The next book that I would recommend if you're going through a divorce and you're a Christian is Boundaries by Henry Cloud and John Townsend. Now, let me tell you why. First of all, if you are anyone, you don't have to be a Christian, any person, any human being looking to know how to live as an adult, this book here, very important, because one of the ways that we should develop as healthy human beings is we should know how to say no to the things we should say no to, and yes to the things that we should. And some people have a hard time with that. And the other thing is we should develop the ability to hear no when it's appropriate and to hear yes when it's appropriate. Some of us struggle with that as well. And so Boundaries is, I think, a great, great book that really all of us should read. I think after the Bible, it would be one of the 5 books I would recommend that every Christian should read, but I really feel every person should read because it's got good, solid, practical advice that is real, is true, and is helpful. And so Boundaries would be the second book. A third book I would recommend was written by Dr. Tim Clinton and Dr. Gary Sibsey, and it is Attachments. This book presents us with something called attachment theory, the idea being that either our ability to attach to our parents or to not attach to our parents will develop in us certain personality styles. And so let me give you the 2 extremes so you get an idea of what we're talking about. On the one hand, you have the secure personality. That is a person who sees themselves as okay and sees everybody else as okay. The destructive personality is one who does not see themselves as okay and they don't see others as okay. These are people who engage in destructive behavior like addictions and all that sort of stuff. Most of us are in one of those 2 middle personalities, and I'm not going to ruin it for you, but read it. And here's why I want you to read it if you're going through a divorce. I find when I do my divorce coaching seminar that when I go through this, it really gives people perspective about why their spouse behaved the way they did and why they themselves behaved the way they did. And here's the thing, you don't want to keep revisiting the past, but I do think there's something useful about looking back and getting perspective, because not only does it give us peace about why it happened, but it also helps us moving forward in our future relationships. Now, for those of you who tend to be a little more theological, you want to know what does the Bible say about divorce, remarriage, all that kind of stuff, then this book by David Instone Brewer, to me, is, I consider this the sort of best, absolute best book on divorce and remarriage in the church. Instone Brewer approaches this topic with sober judgment, with good exegesis of the scriptures, and is practical. Shows you why the positions that so many churches take on divorce are neither practical nor biblical. And so I would highly recommend that. And then the last one, yes, I know you'll be thinking this is a selfless plug. In a way, it is. But I think it's a decent book. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from the people who've read it, and that is my very own The Other Side: Life After Divorce. What I did in this book was to create a devotional that's based on my coaching seminar, and where we focus people first on the heart, we then focus people on the soul, and then we focus people on the mind. And what I've designed this to be is a 30-week devotional where each week you not only read the chapter, but there are a bunch of questions for you to journal on, or you can read the book with somebody else and make those questions the basis of discussion between the two of you. But this is based on a lot of theological, psychological research, and I would commend it to you as a resource for getting through the experience with a positive mindset. So anyway, I hope you find this helpful. I've missed you. I'm hoping to stay, now that we're back to sort of school time weather, fall weather, that I'll be able to stay focused with doing these every week. But once again, if I can be of assistance, go to my website, drangelcartagena.com. I have a contact tab there. You can reach out to me, let me know. Don't forget, I do 30-minute free first consultations to see if we can work together. And for the rest of you, man, have a fantastic rest of October. Can you believe it? It's almost November. And remember that God loves you, and so do I. Blessings.